Namaste everyone. Today we'll explore the nature of freedom or liberation from total freedom. Let's offer our prayers first. Alright, here we go. We left the last paragraph of the chapter. The nature of freedom or liberation. Those who see attachment in detachment and detachment in attachment are called saints. It's a very simple definition, but with a very deep meaning behind it that those who are in a state of attachment while remaining in a state of detachment. Such is their liberation. Means one who is not bound by anything, one who has transcended all kinds of attraction and repulsion, attachment and detachment. Otherwise, you can say someone is so proud of his detachment, or someone is so attached to his detachment. There is no end to these arguments, but precisely what Lalaji says, it is as simple as that. And when you arrive at such a state, you won't have any arguments to be made. Argument comes only when we dissect such words and then spoil our state of clarity. Their system is pure existence. Individuals with such a condition, the entire system reflects a pure existence, passing through the stages of attachment and detachment. Meaning passing through all the normal things that we do in a family. Family, to a large extent, means attachment, and we slowly transcend all these things. This is the positive way. Whereas a person who renounces everything is detached person. This is sannyasa. They go beyond the level of total detachment towards attachment, and this is the way of not this, not this, not this. Neti, neti, neti. The desired goal and the ideal of both is one and the same, as it is said in Sat Sampati, Pravritti and Nivritti. Pravritti means you are involved with some level of activity. And activity is not possible unless there is some ulterior motive. Means some sort of attachment has to be there as well. And nivritti means you move away from all sorts of activities. That's a negative sort of attachment. Sannyasa. The desired goal and the ideal of both is one and the same. One is quite clear about it, whereas the other is devoid of clear vision. But even that is not total negation. How can there be the negation of negation? It appears to be a mere jugglery of meaningless words. Internally, they also aim at detachment, and there is no other way but to accept this attachment. Negation or renunciation is the way of pure knowledge, and attachment is the way of love and devotion. which is purely positive. I think for better understanding of this chapter, I would recommend you all to read and reread one of the chapters from Reality at Dawn, where Babaji Maharaj greatly explains sadhana chatusaya and sat sampatis, types of samadhis as well. I think, to me, personally speaking, this particular chapter, if you know with your heart, I think you have understood Sahaj Mark completely. So every sincere abhyasi should read this particular chapter from Reality at Dawn called Realization. This idea of bondage and idea of freedom, the idea of liberation, which Lalaji Maharaj talks about in this chapter, throws a lot of questions in our mind. Often, when we discuss Ashtavakra Gita and the very first sloka from Ashtavakra, telling Raja Janak, you should shun certain things, you must avoid certain things, and you must embrace certain things if you want these three things be fulfilled. Earlier, Janaka had asked three things, how to achieve them. One was the knowledge, second was how to arrive at detachment, and third was liberation. When Ashtavakra says to him that shun all these Vishayams as Visha, sensual desires, treat them as poisons. And he asks them to embrace five qualities: Satya, Santosham, Daya, Arjam, and Ahimsa. When we refer to our Sahaj Marg prayer, O Master, Thou art the real goal of human life. We are yet but slaves of wishes, putting bar to our advancement. Then naturally, logically, one question disturbs many people that am I not supposed to have any wishes at all? We have to understand one thing, that this particular prayer descended to Babaji Maharaj in English, and English, unlike Sanskrit, is not very specific. If this prayer had descended in Sanskrit, then the words would have been very specific. Then there would not have been any ambiguity of meaning in words. But seeing the future into which the whole world is moving into, where English is so dominant, seeing that in view, this prayer descended in English at a particular charge, particular vibrations. Wishes here has to be understood as manoratha. When we think of wishful thinking, what do we understand when we hear that so and so is always having wishful thinking? Or myself undergoing lots of wishful thinking. This will give us an idea of what wishes are all about. Wish versus desire. Wish versus desires are nothing but degree of demands or needs. Wish is very subtle. So if you can avoid it in some way before it can really becomes a forceful desire, so one can escape the torments of demands of fulfilling desires. If you can weed out a small thing, you don't have to cut a tree. Desires and wish. Some people also talk and say that the desires and wishes, these are inescapable part of our life. Should I not aspire to make my life better at every moment? Should I not research? Should I not find a better gadget that will surpass the previous one? These are all aspirations. Something nobler that can change the course of human life, that can make human life more flourishing. Wishes often leads us into thinking more and more without any actions. In our school days, we were taught this particular sloka, which comes very handy to me today in understanding the differences. It says, Udyamena hi karyani siddhyanti, natu manorathescha, suptena sihena mukhe, natu pravisanti mragaha. Means all your desires or wishes can be fulfilled. Your wishful thinking, even if you work hard towards it. Udyam. The lion that is asleep should not expect deers to jump in his mouth and fulfill his hunger. That is wishful thinking. When you have a desire of immense importance that yes, I must achieve this at any cost, then automatically the forces of nature, your inner forces also start to cooperate with you. In case of manorath, in case of wishes after wishes after wishes, never ending thing, you remain too busy with these wishes and you go on forming layers after layers of impressions. Oh, this was not done, this was not done, this was not done, this was not done. But why was it not done? Because I haven't made any effort in achieving that. So, from that angle, if you look at it, instead of blaming Babuji, saying that you should not have any wish, okay, have a wish and try and fulfill it and see how your efforts are going. Are you really effortful in that direction? Unfortunately, many of us, even before the wish is completed, you have tormented yourself with another one, and third one, and fourth one. So, in that regard, we have to look at these wishes as seeds that one day will become desires. So, we have to curtail and specify what should I be looking for. It's not that you don't have any desire, have it, but minimize to the extent that your heart and your mind and your physique and your resources can work together in fulfilling that and see what happens. More and more of less and less is another way of saying that when I have lesser and lesser desire, I am able to fulfill one desire versus when I have millions of wishes. So, from that angle, when we look at these aspects of wishes, there is nothing wrong but restrict to one or two so that you can fulfill them, say, without wasting a lot of energy. All the best, and thank you.